This episode of Invent America Radio is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King Broadcasting Network and has been bringing you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host Rita Crompton. Discover what's next for new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Mike Rita Crompton talked to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today.
Hello, America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
Hey, welcome America. That's right. This is the Inventor America show, along with my co-host, Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton, on the King's Broadcasting Network. Welcome all of you. Don't forget, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at HomeTalkUSA.com. And I'd like to welcome my partner in crime, the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Hey, Rita, it's been a couple of weeks. We took a little vacation due to Easter weeks, and we all rejuvenized here, and we're trying to reinvent ourselves. But how you been the last couple of weeks?
Busy and just fine. Enjoyed the spring and, back to work. So it was good to have. It was like having an extra day off, man.
Well, and I tell you, maybe I did this by accident, but it seems like we segue into my last topic on Home Talk with little giant ladders with the patent problems that they've had in the early years, the knockoff products that we were talking about the last segment. And now I'm looking at my screen here because, you set the topics. I don't on this hour.
I know.
I have no clue till I see it about, and everybody says, do you actually do your research? I said, no, I don't want to know anything. I want to be spontaneous. When she pops the topic, I want to have the true, honest opinion. And I think that's what makes the show great. So I'm looking on my screen. It says, Rita and Michael will talk about the role of patent plays. Boy, I tell you, couldn't have did it any better, Rita.
It's funny. It's like we can read each other's minds,
Yeah,
So, I get so many inventors that make early mistakes. They don't really understand. You do not need a patent to go to market. You need a patent to negotiate. You need a patent to say, this is mine. You can't do it. You wanted to license it. That means they're renting your patent, not your idea. Ideas like our belly button. Everybody's got one, and it doesn't matter how cute yours is. I can't sell it. All right. When we look at the patent, that's what they're renting the right to use.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And because there's certain things you can do to protect yourself, especially if you're in the United States. If you're in the United States, you're protected. It's the thing, if you go globally, that's a whole different story. And again, I know we pick on China. They're the thieves of technology. We don't have to get into that with them. Like I said, they'll steal the shirt off the emperor's back, Well, it's not an emperor, it's the dictator, whatever they call him. I don't know what they call him. But
we actually have bigger issues with someone in the States who wants to copy it, and then they have it made in China. Well, if you're not patented in China, they're going to make it because your patent only covers you for the country you filed in.
That's right.
So they can make it and sell it anywhere in the world. Well, where it gets real pushy then is when they ship it into the U.S. You could actually stop it at customs if you wanted to, if you could track it down. If you license it, which is, what I help inventors do, the licensee will fight the infringement. Well, that's a big deal. That can be, it's hard and it costs a lot. So what we look at is the licensing. But, I tell inventors, it's like, if you file that PCT, it's called the Patent Cooperation Treaty, PCT. It's like 30 months of an international coverage. And then you pick the country. And so at that point, then you're going to manufacture in China. You file in China. If you've got a product that's got global potential, you may still file in China because now if you file there, they will enforce it. But you've got to file. So
I
do we
don't.
look at all the countries? No, we don't. And we look at, what makes sense. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just the US that makes the most sense.
Um, I forgot where I was listening to. I should have wrote it down. It was late at night when somebody was talking about a monetary threshold on patent infringement on in sales. That's what I want to talk the sales part of it. They threw a number out like 5 million in sales. Usually you don't get bothered or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get to that threshold of that secret number of 5 million, and all of a sudden all hell break loose because the big boys are coming.
Oh, you bet.
Everybody in the world, because now the stealing starts going on, the patent infringements, the copying.
I mean, the industry expert that we've got on today, Michael Miller, he used to license products for Danco. So he was on the company side of the licensing. And they licensed years ago a product called Disposal Genie. Walmart had ripped it off before the ink was even dry on the contract. And Danco went after them and got it pulled from their shelves.
Yeah.
But if Danco hadn't licensed it, they wouldn't have been inspired to fight the infringement.
Yeah.
And so we see that, it's like we had talked about the PTAB and how patents aren't enforced. Well, Josh Malone is the guy that invented Bunch of Balloons, and he licensed it to a toy company. And when his patent was infringed on and PTAB wanted to reject his patent, the licensee went after it and they won. So that's why we look at licensing as being a really big, important option for inventors. The ones that, they want to do it themselves and start a company and they want to manufacture themselves.
Yeah.
At that 5 million mark, you're right. That's when it comes back and bites them.
I think
and then they don't have the money. Then they don't have the money to fight it.
Well, you're bringing back deja vu here, because I can remember that product you're talking about. And I can also remember the guy who invented it in Chicago, who introduced, matter of fact, I'm going to go beyond that. That's how old this show is. The guy who did it, I thought it was so great that he just had a prototype at the Kitchen and Bath show. And I never forget the guy. I forgot his name. He was in Chicago. Oh boy, he was something though. I'm not going to get into that, but man, I really wanted him back because I knew this was going to be a great technology. And I took him to this big steakhouse, man, spent a whole bunch of money on him. I was young and stupid. I didn't know any better, but I saw the technology. And I remember about 5 years later, Danco actually bought him out. Now he's sitting on an island, and I'm trying to find him so at least he can return and buy me after I introduced him on my show and gave him exposure, at least he can return the big steak dinner that he,
exactly.
But that's stories.
That's there. And the other thing that a lot of inventors don't realize is that the patenting part of it, if you use a good attorney, is the least expensive part of it. And they'll say, I can't afford to spend the money on it. Well, if you can't afford to spend the money on the patent, you can't afford any of the other steps either, because they all cost a lot more. And if you don't have the patent to say, no, this is mine, you can't have it. Now, it doesn't matter how much you spend on everything else. And then I get inventors that, they'll spend, thousands of dollars on a prototype. And then we do the patent search and find out they can't even file. They can't and they say, well, I never saw it in the marketplace. Just because you didn't see it in the marketplace doesn't mean it's not there.
But why we always get them when they go broke? We have to get them when they have the money. Then we can guide them in the right path. Set that blueprint.
I know.
They make so much mistakes that just listen to Invent America. Just listen to Greg Owens on Made America, and look, we can solve them problems quick. I mean, we got laws, we got rules, we got patents, we got attorneys, we got blueprints, we got Noah Neely, man. If you need Noah, he will jump in there and help you with your prototyping. I mean, we got it down. Just listen to the show and call the Inventor Lady. She'll help you.
That's right. That's right. My phone number is everywhere. So, get out there and, look it up. It's true. It's like, they'll call me and say, well, I don't have any money to spend on our trade show. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. At that point, the marketing, and we called it Mount Marketing for a reason. It is the biggest mountain an inventor is going to climb to get the product out there. But if you don't have the patent, No licensing, no negotiations. And yeah, it's a tough fight when somebody copies you. But if you don't have the patent, you don't even have a starting point.
Well, and that's the first question they ask on Shark Tank. If you listen to Shark Tank,
I know, right?
the first question is this: do you have patent pending, or do you have a patent? Because that's what they're buying. They're trying to say they worry about all that. They're buying that patent.
Yeah. When we license it, the first thing they want to see is what was filed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have issued, but there's got to be a good one pending, because their attorneys are going to be the ones that fight it if someone infringes on it.
Yeah. Well, we got a good show planned. We're going to have to take a short break. Rita, the Inventor Lady, this is the Invent America show right here on the King's Broadcast Network. We sure hope you stay with us. We're going to be right back. Y'all come back now, you hear? Welcome, America. This is the Invent America show. And like the Inventor Lady says herself, because America invents. She said, don't steal my line. Like, I'm not going to steal your yai. But hey, Rita, who's our sponsor? Who we got helping out the show this segment?
Well, we are very grateful to have our DIY carpet binding bond products. So if you've got a carpet that's starting to fray, a rug that is starting to fray, Instabind, bondproducts.com. That is where you go to fix those fraying rugs. As opposed to going out and buying a new one, fix the old one you've got. That's why we do the DIY. So my first guest is inventor Rick Chesbro. Is that correct? Am I saying it right?
Perfect. Yes. Thank you, Rita.
All right. So you are a very successful inventor, and we are very happy to have you. Not only that, you're, an MD. So your first inventions were in the medical arena, correct?
Correct. That's right.
And so I'm assuming now that because you licensed them, that you had filed a patent.
Yes, I did. Yeah. First thing you do is at least get a provisional patent before you start pitching your idea.
There you go. Thank you very much. That is, I get so many inventors, they get out there and they just, kind of line it up right. And then they get caught, they start going out and selling product. And if they get infringed on, where somebody copies them and starts selling it, you've got nothing to go with. But tell us, why did you license yours?
Right. Well, I had a day job. I was a radiologist back in Michigan. And so I had a wife and 3 kids and car payments, and I could not quit to start a company and spend the next 3 or 5 or 7 years, before you started making money. So I think licensing is the way to go for a lot of people. Come up with the idea, get your provisional patent so that you have some IP protection. I also think it's wise to get non-disclosure agreements signed, because that's covered under business contract law, whereas a patent is covered under patent law. So you have protection from 2 different areas of law. An NDA is much easier to enforce. You can get a judge to issue a cease and desist order. So yes, I licensed, kept my day job, and that turned out to be a winning formula for me.
Well, you've got a couple consumer products now, one that is certainly out there and that you've been selling, and then you've got a new one that you're working on. Tell our listeners, what are your consumer products?
Yeah, so one is for sale on Amazon right now called Closet Cadet. It's a very simple idea that solves everyday problems, basically keeping your closet organized. So Closet Cadet is a corrugated plastic sleeve that separates the hangers and makes everything look nice and covers up that old ugly closet rod. So we're doing well on Amazon. And the other invention is still stuck in engineering, I'm afraid, but it's a floor mat. Think of a polyurethane anti-fatigue mat that everybody has in their kitchen, but you hit a little foot switch and the center part of the mat pops up into a step stool. So it becomes a working platform that you can easily press the foot switch again and push the step down. So kind of a disappearing step stool, really never been done before, and helpful for people that have recurrent vertical challenges, typically in one place. So think of somebody who's 5 feet 2 inches tall and they can't reach the top shelf in the refrigerator. Put one of Rick's magic mats in front of the refrigerator, and now you can get everywhere. Or a shorter person in front of a top load washing machine who has to climb into it to get the clean clothes out. Yes, you can get a step stool or a step ladder, but you got to set it up, put it away, and then remember where you put it. If you're doing this every day or 3 times a day, just put a mat there that pops up into a working platform.
Well, I don't tell her I said this, but we need to hustle this up. My mother is 5 feet tall. She needs one for Christmas, and she does not like being reminded that she's on the short side of reality. But
Right.
hey, don't want her falling down. And and like you had said to me, everyday short people that have got to reach the freezer. You don't even think about it. Yet I'm 5'7", so reaching the freezer is not a big deal. But there are shelves in the garage that I am constantly looking for the stepladder because do you want to know who's constantly moving the stepladder? My husband.
Exactly. Yes, the
And it's in
husband.
the way for him. I know.
Yes, if you don't remember where you put it, the chances are somebody else put it somewhere. So
Exactly. Exactly. So tell us how you got started with the marketing. Now, the Closet Cadet, you did not license that. Is that correct?
well, I tried to, but nobody really bit. And so sometimes as an inventor, you get your patents, try to license something, but if nobody is interested, and of course on a provisional patent, you have 1 year before you have
Right.
to file for the formal patent. So um, yeah, I could not find a company that really saw the vision. So I went ahead and uh, got a shipment from China. I developed the molds and did this myself. I ventured it myself, and we got product from China and started selling and brought in a marketing guy. And now we're doing pretty well on Amazon and trying to build that market. But it's, building a company is the hard work. I tell people, look, when you're an inventor, there's different stages. When you have an idea, that's great. Then you get your patents, maybe you get a prototype. Now you have a product, but you don't have a business. You got to start selling them, and then at that point you have a business. So there's different stages. Yes, if I really like the idea and I can't license it, then you either abandon it or you start venturing it yourself.
Right, right. And there's a lot of great products out there. And the best ones are the ones that start um, you've solved a new problem that other people have.
Right.
So they can relate to it. It's like, the one example I frequently use is the gentleman that invented the flashlight. And, it's the flashlight is a light coming out of the end of the stick, but the guy that invented the one that wraps around a pole, still a light coming out of the end of the stick, but now you didn't have to hold it in your mouth to use both hands. So
Right.
that was a game changer. It was cool. So it was, just we look at those ideas, and when somebody comes to me early on and says, I've got an idea, then we've got a chance at teeing things up with squeezing the money so that we've got some that lasts us until the marketing stage, but we can help them solve the problems. So, Rick, I want to thank you so much. I am really looking forward to working with you, and we're going to have some more conversations. We're going to take off and pay some bills, and we will be right back with another inventor who's in the early stages of getting her product teed up. And so stick with us, America. We will be right back. Hello, America, and thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. We are pleased to bring Invent America to you because America invents. This segment is brought to you by Liberty Tabletop, Cheryl Manufacturing. It is the only flatware that is made in the USA. So for all of your flatware, dinnerware, cookware, glassware, think libertytabletop.com. And my next inventor is Terry LaFranchi.
LaFranchi?
Frankie, all right, had those sounds a little bit messed up, but she's got a really cool product. That it's a version of this product has been around for decades, literally decades. But the new version is, it is going to take on like crazy because it fits. It fits into the marketplace, and we are looking forward to sharing some of Terry's story with you. So, Terry, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So you are patent pending, correct?
Correct.
All right. You filed a provisional patent, correct?
Yes.
Very good. And see, we have a conversation ahead of time, so I know the question she's going to answer yes to, and that certainly does help when we're presenting it. But, the big thing is so many inventors start going out there and doing things, and they're not patent pending. And patent pending is an important tool in all of this. So give us your idea. What was your inspiration? What do you have, and what was your inspiration?
Okay, my crazy idea was something really basic and simple. I was watching a football game and they put on a baseball hat when they came off the field instead of their helmet. And I just thought, why don't we have a football hat? We should have something that represents each sport, or at least start here. So that was my idea. And I just took the size of a child's football and replaced the bill of a baseball hat with the mimic or image of a football. And I wanted to add the leather because I felt like that is a signature piece. And yes, I feel like from professional NFL all the way to high schools or anywhere this hat can be worn in, I think it's going to be a blast to put all different logos on, messages, emblems, you name it.
So, well, it's really cute. And, I've seen some of your prototypes. Honestly, I can see where this could end up being a big deal and a big push against the baseball cap because the bill is so much wider. It will protect you more.
Yes.
So now if you're sitting out and the weather is, rainy, this is going to be like, an umbrella almost.
Sort of. I didn't want it to be very big, but I actually was so excited when I thought about scooting it back. It's kind of like a visor. You still see it across, but you also have actually the protection of all sorts of weather. So, yes.
Well, not only that, but, protection from the sun. So, for a lot of folks, you won't need, oh, I forgot my sunglasses. That's okay. Here, wear this. For folks that, they don't want their neck getting sunburnt and they turn those baseball caps around and then you've got the weirdest suntan. So
Yes.
there's a lot of ways that this is going to compete with then the old fashioned baseball cap.
Yes. I think it's going to be a great element.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So where are you right now? What are you working on right now?
Design, just having it manufactured, Stitch, Kentucky. Nice link, nice people.
I know, we introduced you to Stitch, Kentucky. That's so cool.
It was adorable to speak with, and so I think I'm next to talk to their engineer.
Wonderful.
And yes.
Well, and that kind of brings us around full circle here to some of our inventors who are really literally stuck on the docks in China. And, we had one lady, she was just, really struggling to get her product over here and she had it all lined up. And, about the time it was supposed to be put on the ship, the tariffs hit. And it was so frustrating. So now she's looking at, instead of the shipping being $11,000, it's $23,000. And she doesn't know what to do. And she was past being able to go to, find a manufacturer in the US because her product was already sitting in a warehouse in China.
Yeah, that's tough.
And you came in right at kind of the magic point. It's like, oh no, let's not go to China. Let's go to Stitch, Kentucky.
1,000 times over, I want to keep it in America. So yes, I'm excited.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we are excited to be able to make that connection for you. And so, what was your first step? When you kind of got to the point where you were doing some of your own version of a prototype, when did you decide, let's file a patent?
I think it sat with me for a little bit and I just thought, why not? I joke sometimes. People say, well, why? And I say, well, why not? Why not try it? So I figured I better start in the legal department. So I went to the patent office, patent attorneys first. And
Very good.
Guiding me as in, if you're going to attempt something that you believe in, to lock it in so that it's yours before it just goes worldwide.
Well, I'm proud of you for going to a registered patent attorney to get this done. We get inventors to say, well, I did it myself. Oh, okay. legally, you can do it yourself. It's called doing it pro se. Me do my own self, as my grandson taught me when he was 3. All right. Doing it your own self, when you are trying to get a product into the market is not the wisest thing at all. I mean, legally, they have to accept it. You can put it on toilet paper with crayons and they have to accept it, basically. But that's not going to stand up in court if you're challenged on your filing date, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, not at all. I felt very comfortable and I felt like it was a nice process and just safe and secure, like you're doing it the right way. So the support's been great. And so is yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, and when someone challenges your filing date, and this is one of the things that I help inventors, when they say, well, my patent is issued. Well, how did you do it? Well, I did it myself. Well, there's your first problem, because if now you try to correct that and correct any errors you made, they actually use your own filing against you as prior art. It's like, well, that stinks big time. Yeah. And you can't make corrections unless you do it before the first one issues.
No, I'm glad I didn't go that route.
Yeah. And so if you don't know those things, you can really burn yourself. And when I get, inventors that say, well, I can't afford to pay for that. You need to really rethink this process, because the manufacturing is more expensive. The marketing is more expensive. Everything is more expensive than filing the patent, unless you're using, the variable hourly rate is what gets you. So, you can spend 10 grand on a patent with a registered patent attorney, or you can spend 50 grand on a patent with a registered patent attorney. Yeah, it's the hourly rate that really has the variable in it. And sometimes, the more you pay for the patent, it just means they're driving a nicer car.
And how that applies all over, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It really does. So what is your long-term goal, Terry? Are you looking at, going into manufacturing yourself and setting up a company? What do you want to do?
Well, I have been in business for a long time myself. And so that would not be my original. My original concept was go straight to the NFL with this concept, see how they like it, let them take over and broad span it. I feel like it's just, like I said, going to hit from professional teams to high schools to Pop Warner, whatever it is. And that means one side of it, let alone it also being where I was recommended, like it could be for promotional conventions. People might put their own label on it and use the hat as its passage. So basically I am open, but I do feel as if I would want to process with you, follow your lead, see how that goes, keep what we can in America, and support all of us here. That's basically
that's excellent. And in a perfect scenario, the inventor is able to manufacture some, so we've got a short run. The problem is that, where you're putting a logo on it and you don't have the right to use that logo, now you're infringing on somebody else, and that's not going to make you happy. But what we look at, there are several companies in the States that have the right to use all those logos, and that's who we would look for licensing. And I know some of them. So that is where we're going to go to get some of those resources and check in with guys that want to be able to do that. And then they've got everything from all of the football licensing to, Disney. And so you never know what kind of logo they might want to put in it. But in the meantime, there are going to be some logos that you could put Invent America on there, and we could have a really good time.
Let's start it. I'm ready.
So there's going to be ones that we can use that will make sense and not get you into trouble. And we are going to be excited to see what happens with this. So Terry, thank you so much for being with us today. We are very grateful. And you know what? We're going to get you back on here. Right now, we've got to go pay some bills. So everybody stick with us. We will be back with our industry expert in just a few minutes.
Don't have the time or expertise to market your small business? Constant Contact's powerful digital marketing platform helps you grow your audience, engage your customers, and sell more to boost your business. Now, with just a few clicks, you can launch a personalized marketing campaign that includes email, social, SMS, and more tailored to your business and your goals. Save time and get real results with Constant Contact. Try it free today at ConstantContact.com.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America loves to invent. I don't know anybody that ever didn't say at some point, oh, I wish I would have invented that. I wish I would have thought about that. And we are here to help you get through the steps. So, anybody that's thinking about inventing something, have them give me a call, because my phone number is out there everywhere. This segment is brought to you by Aztec Washer. It is the revolutionary and innovative roofing products since 1968. Holy cow. Seal it right, seal it tight. AztecWasher.com. Anybody that's been around that long, they know what they're doing. And my guest today is Michael Miller. He's been around a long time. He knows what he's doing as well. Used to work for one of those companies that owned a lot of shelf space in Home Depot and Lowe's, licensed product. We licensed product to him. So he knows what it is all about as far as saying, do you have a patent filed? Right, Michael?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rita.
It is so nice to see you. I hope you had a wonderful Easter.
I did. Thank you so much. It was fantastic.
So anyway, are you up north in Maine yet, or are you still in Texas?
In Texas.
All righty. So, tell us a little bit about your history in dealing with new products getting into the marketplace.
Absolutely. Well, I'm an inventor myself, so I've invented a number of products over the years. For everything from healthcare products, as in bandages, to plumbing products, new home construction products, and then the last, for what, like a 16-year period, I was actually the person responsible for licensing products for 3 different companies that were all owned by the same parent corporation. So put products into Lowe's, Home Depot, Amazon, Petco, PetSmart, Walmart. So a lot of different types of products, and all products that we licensed from inventors that we then brought to market.
So why is the patent so important?
Oh my gosh. Well, the main thing is whenever you go to put together documents to actually license a product, you have to have something legal that the person is actually licensing to you. The easiest thing to have, instead of just an idea that maybe somebody has on a piece of paper, is an actual legal document by the federal government that is a U.S. patent. U.S. patents, U.S. trademarks. Once you have that, now you actually have something that is on the document that the person is actually now, the company is responsible to make sure they meet all of their obligations. The inventor meets all of his or her obligations. And it just makes everything so much easier to go through the system. I like to tell people, you're really not in necessarily licensing the product, you're really licensing the patent. And that's really the key from a real legal perspective. And it gives you a lot of rights as an inventor, that you have that patent number. It's very key. You have a lot of people that are out there telling you, oh, go the easy route, go this route, go that route. All of which, oh, don't bother wasting your money on a patent and all of these types of things. And Man, it's really, really hard, and a lot of bad things can happen to you if you don't.
Yeah, I always tell inventors it's like the licensing is like renting the right to use your patent to someone else. They're renting the right to use it. And when I get somebody say, well, I talked to somebody that said, if I file a provisional, then I can let the licensee file the non-provisional. And I go, no, because now you're giving them the right to control it. The only thing that gives the inventor leverage is controlling the intellectual property or the patent.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's actual software that companies use that I used that you actually input in a particular patent in a particular category, and it gives you what the value of that patent is. There's
Wow.
actually software out there that does that. And believe me, a lot of large companies use that. And so with that information, it helps you through the process internally within the company to make sure that you're valuing that product properly. And also, when you go to negotiate with the inventor, it gives you really what are those, signposts for how much to be able to give them. How much is this thing really, what it's worth? What is it worth to the company? And what is that monetary value? That really is how you negotiate your agreements.
So when somebody tells you when you're talking to them that they didn't use a registered patent attorney, they filed it themselves, what do you do with that? I mean, we always kind of chuckle and say, not probably the best way to go because you see what it is, you write what it is, and that's not a good dance to do.
It really isn't. And what that really does is you have to look at it from the company's perspective, right? And especially somebody that did what I did for so many years is I have literally hundreds of products that are being proposed to me at every single week. And so if you have one that you're going to have to do all this kind of research on, you're just going to pass on it. You have a lot of other ones that are, fully patented, maybe even have some sales information. You're really going to work on that, not on ones you're going to have to do a whole lot of research on.
And that's exactly what I tell them. So thank you so much, Michael. You and I have known each other a long time, so we do see eye to eye on a lot
Yes.
of the different things, and it's made us chuckle and share some good stories. So thanks so much for being with us today. I know that we will have you on again, and it's fascinating. It is always fascinating. So I will be back with you next week and have another group of inventors and a fun topic so that we can present you some of these new products. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week.